Topic for presentation this evening, and is the Liberty Park Library Building Steering Committee report, and it'll be led by Terry Agashiyama.
Thank you, Council President Zwicker and council members and guests in our audience. We are excited to be here tonight to fulfill an assignment we were given last June when the City Council made the decision at that time to move the library to the downtown area. And the Community Services Department was asked to lead a community process to decide what the building would be used for in the future. Not knowing if any or what changes may occur to the building, the department also moved forward on reviewing the permitting process and the structural information about the building. I can easily say that this has been a wonderful experience, and the department team of Greg Stroh, our facilities manager, and Liz Stewart, the museum manager, and support from Diane Wagner, our secretarial staff in the Community Services Department. We have thoroughly enjoyed working with this steering committee, and I've done a lot of them over the years, and this has been a phenomenal group. I'm going to ask all the members to stand and just introduce themselves by name so you can know. Some of them you may know, some may not, but we'd like to make sure you see it. We had a few that couldn't make it tonight, but most of them are here. So would you all stand? Come on, you guys, don't be shy. Doug, you want to start?
I'm Doug Kais, but I think I know most of you.
Yes, you do.
Glenn Garrett.
I'm Adam Smith.
Will Sampson.
Norm Abrahamson.
Holly Hawker.
Jonathan Fox.
Leon Johnson.
Francine Sieverts.
Cheryl Boudreau.
Pamela Carino.
John Hanson.
All right, thank you guys for standing. You received the final report last week, and there are more copies on the table in the back, and we also want the public to know that the whole report is on the city's website under the steering committee, so they can also look at it there. And the full recommendation is there. For any other information, they can always contact the Community Services Department for any further information. We all understand that the City Council is currently considering holding an election to decide whether or not the library services should continue in the Cedar River building, and future decisions could make this group's work less relevant. We hope that you will see the amount of volunteer hours and dedication that has gone into this report. While we all understand that the report only seeks consultant funds in the 2013-14 budget to move forward an idea, it does provide a great opportunity to discuss and develop a community vision for the downtown area of Renton. Presenting tonight are our executive team. I have to tell you, this is the only time that I've had a steering committee where we actually had to run an election because so many of them wanted to take the leadership role. That tells you the passion that was here. We actually had campaigning. It was quite good. So our chairperson is Gary Barber. Our vice chair is Marvin Rossetti. And Teresa Clymer-Flora was our secretary. And they are actually going to do the presentation tonight, and then we will be happy to answer any questions afterwards. Thank you.
Super, thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Council President Zwicker, council members, thank you for taking time out this evening, allowing us to present this report that summarizes the recommendations of our steering committee regarding the future use of the Liberty Park Library Building. This committee generated interest and participation from citizens from a wide variety of backgrounds. From the initial meeting in late September of 2011, 60% of those participants followed the process through to completion. The group committed a significant amount of volunteer time to research the impacts and opportunities presented by each scenario. While the subject of this building is controversial, the committee members gathered together at each meeting with a commitment to a vision for the future of this unique location and a passion for bringing the best ideas forward to share with the citizens. We conducted 2 public open houses to interact with the public and solicit their ideas and opinions of future needs and opportunities. In conjunction with the public forums, we also put forth 2 online surveys. What we present to you tonight is the result of these efforts towards defining and sharing this vision. Based on this input, our committee's overall recommendation to the council is that the vision for this unique and unusual building be directed towards the creation of an environmental interpretive center. We would now like to share some additional background and details with regards to the specifics of this recommendation.
This slide represents more than 7 months of work the steering committee has dedicated before coming to our recommendation. Given the expectations and the amount of work that needed to be completed, Committee members worked diligently through the winter holidays to accomplish this task. As you'll see, we wanted to reach as many of our neighbors as we could, especially between November 2011 and January of this year. The committee focused on allowing as much opportunity as possible for different types of input, to include 2 online surveys and 2 public open houses. The committee would like to give special acknowledgement to the city's communications staff, who were instrumental in helping us reach our neighbors for their feedback. Along with public comments, committee members were also treated with a review of various city plans on the future of the area. The information provided significant background, educating the volunteers about previous ideas already developed for the area. We want to emphasize that the committee could not have moved forward without this information. These plans provide a historic perspective in detail of what planners and citizens have already worked on in decades prior. The city staff had also spent several hours briefing committee members about current conditions of the building and showing us 5 existing public plans, which provided critical direction to help the committee discover what other kinds of useful purposes the structure could provide. With the information in hand, the steering committee is pleased to identify its top 3 scenarios. They are an arts and cultural center, a third-place meeting center or community space, and finally, an environmental interpretive center.
The first time we met as a steering committee was actually here in council chambers, and at that time we counted off 1 to 5 and just started brainstorming about what would be a good idea for the library building. After breaking down all the information that we had gone through, we figured out that there was actually 3 major interest groups. The group members self-selected what interested them the most and what committee they wanted to reside on. Each group had a mission statement and goal, what the purpose was and why we were doing this or suggesting it, plus the feasibility study of concepts of sustainability and economic vitality. They then developed an interactive statement about what the purpose for what it brings to the community. What types of activities that would support this? Would it be for children, families, adults, or a mix of all? Who would the potential partners be? What are the alternative methods for funding? Memberships, usage, entry fees, grants, and so on. And those are shown on the board that we have over here. We had on each committee a member of the city staff and as a liaison, plus each one of us on the executive board. So starting with the Arts and Culture Center, Doug Hayes was our leader, and Greg from the city was also on our team, and I was as the executive member. The Arts and Culture Group toured several art centers in Everett and Kirkland and met with the Renton Municipal Arts Commission several times. The idea was to follow the vision of the Arts and Cultural Master Plan that was already in existence. The plan for the library was to have featured artists and their arts on display, classrooms, shops, restaurants with performing artists, artist lofts, and art supply sales. The next one was third place in community space. And Holly Hawker was our representative there. Terry was our leader from the city, and Marvin Rosette was the member from the executive board. And that group looked at this space as being very flexible, with really no obstructions, movable walls, movable furniture, things that could suit both children and adults. And the space could be converted from day to night with a space for larger events and a catering kitchen that would also have a restaurant or cafe on site. They looked at using the model of Luther's Place and a Wi-Fi area. The space would be a rental type of arrangement. And the last group is the Environmental Interpretive Center. The leader was Adam Smith, and Liz Stewart and Gary Barber were on that committee. The Interpretive Center group visited Lewis Creek Visitor Center, Mercer Slough Environmental Center, and they looked at the building as being a gateway to the nature outdoors. They would tie the river, the trails, the parks, and the open spaces together with the wildlife. This space could be used as a rental facility for events and also have a cafe or place to eat on site. Potential partners were Friends of Cedar River, Boys and Girl Scouts, and many others. The plan would like it to be developed as a green facility. A lot of the information that these groups found was with talking with people, visiting sites, going online, and examining what other plans had been proposed in other communities, as well as enhancing the City of Renton's current adopted master plan.
Okay. Now, given the current climate concerning the building, we'd like to note the very positive participations from the citizens about the future of this facility. The feedback from the public forums helped the committee identify and vet its top 3 options, and all of these options were presented at our February open house. Okay. This slide shows the image boards of the scenarios that the committee presented in our February public forum. We brought these displays for you for here tonight for your review, and we'd like to recognize committee member Will Sampson for his hard work in creating all of these wonderful illustrations. In the last and most recent online survey from February 2012, respondents graded the likelihood of their using the building according to the 3 scenarios that we've provided. The results showed the following. 82% were definitely or somewhat likely to use an environmental interpretive center. 41% were definitely or somewhat likely to use an arts and cultural center, and 39% were definitely or somewhat likely to use a third place or community space. Based on the public survey, the Environmental Interpretive Center was the first choice among 65% of those in the survey, almost 1/3. The next highest that you see is the Arts and Cultural Center, which was the first choice among 20% of the respondents. The third place community space was preferred first choice of only 15% of those in the public feedback.
After compiling these scenarios, we found several common factors that we felt would underscore a greater potential for success. Recognizing the importance of both short and long-term funding, we felt that it is critical not only to achieve environmental sustainability, but also economic sustainability for the center. We wanted to emphasize and consider the opportunities for public-private partnerships. We wanted to create ancillary retail lease spaces that would be an ongoing amenity to the public using the park. Making the final use of the facility something not only of regional but possibly national note and drawing events and functions to the downtown area. Providing an environment for the integration and display of art and culture that highlight our city. Increasing the connection between this building and the surrounding park, making it a place that encourages maximum community access to the greatest degree possible, and be a place of learning, education, and growth that can be enjoyed by all members of the community. Taking into account all of the information from the various plans presented, our committee's research, and the public input, the structure of the proposed use should take into account 5 underlying considerations. Its distinctive and unique location over the Cedar River and the opportunities this presents. The potential for partnerships and sponsorships in the mission of the facility. How the proposal would fit in with current uses and activities in the immediate vicinity. And that the use would be complementary to the existing plans and goals currently in place, and reflect the public input the committee received regarding the future use of this building. The committee's recommendation consists of 4 parts. Creation of a Cedar River Environmental Interpretive Center. The city should make the establishment of an arts and cultural center in the immediate vicinity of the downtown corridor a priority. Further develop Liberty Park and its connection to the surrounding neighborhood as a commons for the citizens' use and enjoyment, and utilize sustainable building practices to minimize the facility's impact on the environment and infrastructure. Let's review these components. Number one, we recommend the council allocate funding for a consultant to further define the program to establish an environmental interpretive center in the Liberty Park Library Building. The building provides a unique educational forum to enhance visitors' understanding and connection with the local natural amenities. It provides a rare opportunity for the scientific study and research of the salmon runs on the Cedar River. It can act as a focal point for local groups such as Friends of the Cedar River Watershed for public outreach along the Cedar River Trail. It can create educational and entertainment opportunities that strengthens the public's understanding and connection to the environment, and take advantage of the central location to the region's natural resources to enhance tourism in the city of Renton. The central location of this facility really makes it a hub for excursions to current local natural amenities, such as Coulon Park and the May Creek and Honey Creek Greenways to the north, Cedar River Trail and natural areas to the east, the Springbrook and Panther Creek trails in the Renton wetlands to the south, and the Black River riparian forest to the west.
Our second recommendation is that we urge the council to continue making the creation of an arts and cultural center a top priority. Art is a way to involve and celebrate our diverse cultures. And it's a way to involve and get the economic stimulus growing into a core area and revitalize the downtown area.
In our third recommendation, the group urges the council to continue developing the concept of a civic campus or a civic commons. The inspiration of this idea is not new to city planners, but in light of future renovations and the goal of creating a new and vibrant active center for civic life, the civic campus reimagines the purpose of the building and creates a new vision for the area, fostering creativity and innovation, the true architectural heritage of Renton. This map shows how the building is located amongst its current city landmarks, such as the 200 Mill Building, the museum, the community center, Carco Theater, the Senior Activity Center, and the Liberty Park Community Building. All of these structures, along with the community's proposal of the new Environmental Interpretive Center, will create a new synergy in this campus environment for the quality of public life in Renton.
The final part of our recommendation tonight is that this facility be sustainably designed to take maximum advantage of current technologies and opportunities presented by this unique location, such as the adaptive reuse of the old library building, conveying it to a new use, potential for renewable energy sources on the site, minimizing the building's overall carbon footprint, and even with that, the sensitivity of realizing the impact of this building in its new use on the environment would follow the overall mission of an environmental interpretive center. I just wanted to say I've had the privilege to work with some very passionate and very visionary people, and want to thank the mayor and you folks on the city council for giving us this opportunity to contribute of what we feel very positively conveys a potential future for this building. And we're ready to take any questions you might have.
Questions from council? Breyer, or questions or comments? Excuse me. Ms. Breyer.
I was really excited to see the depth of detail that you went into to form your decisions. It's pretty impressive, all the master plans that we have for the areas down there.
Yeah.
And so much work's been involved in those. So it's really great that you were able to, educate yourselves about what the plans have been and incorporate that into what you thought this facility.
It was very enlightening for us
Right.
as well. Losing track of what the city's plans are for the tri-park plans, things such as that.
Right.
It really leads one to believe that even in these economic times, there is still a vision out there for the future.
Right, yeah. So I was really excited to see that. And I was really glad that you were able to come up with, narrow it down to three ideas, because I'm sure that there were a lot more than that on the table originally, and because I know we've heard several. So I think you did a great job. The information's put together really nicely. I love the photographs that kind of help, give us a little bit more inspiration into what, the roles might be. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, comment and a question. I'd like to just thank you all for stepping forward and dedicating your time to pursue this steering committee opportunity for the repurposing of the library site. In spite of what people think one way or the other, I think that it's always great when we get people who are inspired, they're passionate, they care about where they live, and they motivate themselves to action. They actually become a part of a solution, and I want to commend you all for doing that. I also would like to ask a question for Terry Higashiyama. Is there any council action that is expected on this recommendation for allocation of consulting funds tonight?
No, this is a briefing only tonight, and that would be funds that would be allocated as part of the 13-14 budget.
Okay.
That would come through in that cycle.
All righty. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Prince?
I just want to, again, commend you guys on how inclusive you've been. I attended the open house you guys had at the community center, and I was very impressed by the amount of people who were there, but also the displays that you had and how interactive you all were with folks. And I went through this report a third time this morning. I was very impressed by all the hard work you put into it, so I just wanted to give you my kudos.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair? Foreman?
Yeah, I want to echo that. I appreciate the hard work. I've heard many good things about this committee. And as I was thinking about that, the building that we have that used to be the Spirit of Washington Event Center, which has, kind of a long history. I was on the council for a number of terms while we sorted through that, what to do with that building. I really wish we'd had a committee like this take a look at it. Frankly, I think it's not too late. It seems like there haven't been that many events there, and I think and some, your second and third place ideas perhaps could fit into something like that. So I hope you guys do think about staying together and helping us with some other.
Several of us have expressed, I for one have expressed the interest to stay with this through further into the.
Good. Yeah, it's really. I was reading through your resumes. It's a very impressive group of resumes, and thank you very much for all your participation.
Pleasure.
John?
Excuse me. I want to say thank you too, and I think you were, at the very least, no matter what happens with the library and all the other stuff, what you have done is bring forth a vision to the council and to our citizens that we've talked about for a long time. And we needed somebody to come and poke us a little bit and say, maybe you need to take a little bit better look at this, and how can we move forward on something like this. So I think your time was well spent. Excellent review. I mean, you really, I'll be very honest with you, when I first heard somebody saying interpretive center, I says, no way. But then you take a look at what it is and what you've done, and it changes your attitude. So it's interesting what happens when you get good facts and good people working on something. So I just want to say thank you.
Our pleasure. It's a lot of imagination on this group, and Frank Lloyd Wright said it best, that an idea is salvation by imagination. So we had that in spades with this group, with a lot of imaginative, passionate people here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks.
Yeah, Terry, if I just may weigh in. I cannot express my appreciation enough. You guys took what was ticking time bomb, a bag of dog do. You guys stepped in when we needed you most. There obviously is uncertainty about what we can do with this at this point, but I also see a lot in here that helps. We really did bring together the previous decisions of council, the previous plans that we've done, city center and that type of thing, and shown how when you take these other studies that we've done, how you can move forward with them and use those decisions in putting into visioning and actually putting it on paper, and you guys did that. I definitely want to make sure I single out Greg and Liz for their leadership and guidance. Again, another just stellar shot from our staff of rolling up their sleeves and getting in and helping coordinate the volunteers. I want to thank all of the volunteers. I know this isn't exactly where you wanted it to be. I would be a lot more fun if we were saying, you know, yeah, Jay, put it in the budget and let's move forward, and we're not there with that tonight. But appreciate the fact you guys didn't let that taint you. You came and gave a great presentation. You completed the task. That honestly means the world to me, and I think I can speak for my fellow council members. This is how it gets done. We're a part-time council. We need citizens to help us and to participate, and you guys did that. And special thanks to Mr. Barber, Mr. Rossetti, and Ms. Clymer-Flora for taking the lead. I mean, there's site visits in here, there's partnerships in here. This is just incredible stuff, and I wish we had a better send-off to give you. But don't let it diminish our absolute appreciation for your efforts, all of your efforts. I know this takes time. I know this takes passion. It's reflected in this document just unbelievably. And Terry, thank you so much for your leadership on this. And I just can't say enough for you guys. Really, thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll close with a thank you from the staff to this great group. And, you know, we work a lot of evenings, but when it's fun like this, it makes it work. We also know when you bring a group of people together, there's compromises. There were some passions very directly in different ways, and I think you see that in the final 4 recommendations that they found a way to bring those together, because certainly the Environmental Interpretive Center was a loud voice, but we certainly respected the arts and cultural plan that group has been working on for a long time, and certainly hope that that can continue on a path to be a future, because I think the community could benefit from that.
I think
And
the report reflects that very well.
Yeah,
That
and
there's not just a choice.
Yeah, and certainly the campus approach, because we never look at one building or one small section of our city. We look at it as a whole, and how does that best provide for our community? And that's what they, more than anything, looked at. We said, we're not talking about just this building. We're talking about what is it where community can park their car and do so many wonderful things in one place. Who else has a river and a lake and all these natural areas that you could walk from one place? That's pretty phenomenal for just being what Renton is. So we thank you for having us here tonight, and I again want to thank the committee, and I'm sure I'll be having interaction with them as time goes on. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Can I ask a question? I don't know if...
Maybe.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah, but if you've got to, feel free to follow up afterwards, but we got done quicker than I had anticipated, but that's okay. We will go ahead and adjourn and be back at 7 o'clock for a council meeting. Thank you.
People came together to ask the store to offer healthy foods like fruits and vegetables. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and so it's important to me that they have fruits and vegetables and other healthy foods. So